Makes it hard to trust outsiders. You seem different, so welcome aboard.
It's Pride Month, and what better way to celebrate than to shout out our favorite LGBTQ characters in video games. These are just some of the complex, fascinating, hilarious, or otherwise cool as hell characters who have spoken to us through meaningful representation.
Good, you're finally here. Now help me close this, would you?
Maybe they're jealous of you. I'm just a girl.
Ellie has proven to be an extraordinarily complex character over the course of The Last of Us, Left Behind, and The Last of Us Part 2. She's resilient, ruthless, kind, protective, vulnerable, vengeful, and ultimately capable of great change. Her first love, Riley, was taken from her while she survived, and she carried that guilt with her for years. By the time Part 2 wraps, she had fallen in love again, this time with Dina, started a family, and left that family. We last left her on an emotional cliffhanger where it's uncertain if she'll be able to find herself once again.
He doesn't know. No one will once I leave this place. I'll just be a normal girl in a normal town.
Alex Chen is the latest protagonist in the Life is Strange franchise. Witty, hardened, and independent, Alex is a deeply endearing character, and there are many ways her journey could progress depending on your choices. And while Alex is not the first protagonist to have the option to romance either a male or female romantic partner, or none at all, it genuinely feels like there's no right or wrong choice in the latest Life is Strange, a major boon for a series that has always prioritized player choice.
I'm not much interested in physical stuff. Never have been.
Outer Worlds could have just been Fallout in space, but ended up being so much more, and the companions you meet along the way are a big reason for that. That includes Parvati, an engineer working at the Saltuna cannery on Edgewater who asks the player character if she can join you off-world for adventure. After meeting Junlei, another engineer on the Groundbreaker, Parvati opens up to you about her feelings and her past relationships. She tells you that she's been in other relationships in the past, but that everyone always felt she was cold and left her because she had no interest in physical relationships. It's one of the most heartfelt and honest depictions of an asexual character in a video game to date, and the questlines to get Parvati to open up and trust you and Junlei enough to pursue a relationship are extremely rewarding.
And I, Tiny Tina, am the bunker master, so what I say goes!
It's hard not to fall completely in love with Tiny Tina when you first meet her in Borderlands 2. The 13-year-old explosions expert who tragically lost her parents at a young age is feisty, witty, and extremely capable, if not a little wild. She's also, according to her writer Anthony Birch, a lesbian. While relationships and queer-coded adult characters are great and important, it's refreshing to have a kid who exists outside of any sort of relationship and is just allowed to exist on the LGBTQ spectrum. Tiny Tina is confident in who she is, and while she has pretty heavy emotional moments in the series, she never questions her own identity. In Borderlands 3, as a fully grown adult, we see and hear her more explicitly talk about relationships, both emotional and physical with others, but it's the confident kid that sticks with you.
Abby!
Lev is maybe the most beloved character from The Last of Us Part 2 despite having less screen time than many of his counterparts. He becomes the game's moral center, temporarily stopping the cycle of violence from continuing and acting as a saving grace for Abby on her journey to redemption. He's passionate and intelligent and brave, especially in the face of scrutiny from his community after he comes out as trans. Lev's a character we'd love to see further explored in future games. We love Gregg because he's a small, rebellious trash animal who, despite being a troublemaker and a punk, cares about his friends and his relationship with his boyfriend so much that he's constantly afraid of messing up. He's so well written and real, just like the entire cast of wonderful characters in Night in the Woods. It's cool to see a character in a game who's just a normal dude with normal problems and not someone who's trying to save the universe.
You're right. That was the plan all along, and you made it happen.
The Judy versus Panam debate is one that will outlive us all, but for this list, we have to emphasize just how wonderful Judy Alvarez is in Cyberpunk 2077. Judy's a quick-witted braindance technician you meet early on, and the more you learn about her, the more you want to know about her. Romanceable by only a female V, Judy is integral to Cyberpunk 2077's early main storyline. And while she's usually at odds with the choices that V and Evelyn Parker's makes, it's always a joy to receive that phone call from her explaining her actions and asking V to come spend time with her. Judy is the lost, lovable character that one just can't help but adore, and has become one of the most recognizable and relatable characters to stem from Cyberpunk 2077.
I'll be in touch. Oh, and Felix, try not to get yourself killed.
If the carefully groomed mustache of Dorian Pavis didn't catch your attention at first, his quick-witted and sassy banter is sure to charm you. A proud mage from Tevinter, Dorian is the first male party member only able to be romanced by a male protagonist in the Dragon Age series. Dorian is extremely intelligent and has a sharp memory, and as your friendship with Dorian develops, as either male or female inquisitor, you learn that his sexuality is a point of contention between him and his family. Dorian is proud of who he is, both as a gay man and as a Tevinter mage. Posh and always fashionable, Dorian is always ready with a cheeky comeback and maybe a touch of blood magic.
I can do this. First get past the wretched shades of Tartarus. Easier said than done, and doubtless I'll be running into Meg.
As much as Hades is a game about trying to fight your way out of the underworld, it's also a game about relationships. Be that familial or romantic, the conversations you have as Zagreus are just as important as the giant monsters you kill, and his slick but genuinely caring demeanor carries you through them all. While you're given the opportunity to romance both the Fury Megara and Death Incarnate Thanatos, the way Zach's relationship to every character in the game, regardless of situation or societal standing, is something truly special to watch. Hades reset the bar for stories and roguelike games, and Zagreus is a massive part of why. The story of Celeste is an unexpectedly candid one. It may look like a cute pixelated platformer on the surface, but it quickly reveals itself to be far more than that, and the struggle of its main character Madeline is the beating crystal heart at the center of it. Madeline's journey as she resists and then tries to make peace with the parts of herself that frighten her is truly touching. Whether you read that as conflict as her more explicit struggle with depression and anxiety, or the journey of transitioning that Celeste's creator discussed in length later on. Madeline is clever, charmingly stubborn, kind-hearted, and painfully relatable, and her story remains a standout part of an excellent game. Those are just some of our favorites. Head over to IGN.com to see the rest, but what are yours? Let us know in the comments, and for everything else Pride in Gaming, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.